It's spooky season, and to keep in line with the festivities and drawing up hype for early next year's Resident Evil Requiem, it seems like Capcom could very well be hard at work on solidifying the next couple of remakes for the series. Today, we're going over some brand new leaks and rumors surrounding what could be the next two Resident Evil remakes in development. Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake and Resident Evil 0 Remake. As for the first time, new details have emerged that indicate that one of these heavily rumored remakes may have transcended the realm of rumors and could be legitimate. Because this video still features a lot of speculation, including a leaker with a very rocky reputation, take this information with a healthy amount of skepticism, as this info has not been officially confirmed by Capcom. That said, if you're into looking at some evidence that a future remake could very well be into production, along with a good amount of leaks and rumors backing it up, then you are in the right place. Smash that like button as we venture ahead into the most current leaks and rumors of some of Resident Evil's next remakes, and treat yourself to some of the tastiest canned energy drinks around by saving 10% off your next Gamer Supps order by using my affiliate link or by hitting the link in the description. Starting first with Resident Evil 0 Remake, this project has definitely received the least number of updates and details, as Code Veronica Remake has stolen the spotlight over the years, with big playtester leaks emerging at the end of 2023, starting what have been a couple of years of pretty substantial leaks for that title. However, with this recent update, we've finally gotten a better understanding about the remake of the 2002 GameCube Resident Evil prequel, Resident Evil 0. As per popular gaming website MP First, quote, "We can now confirm that the Resident Evil 0 remake is indeed a reality, and we were able to gather some details about the project, including additions to the plot, casting, and information regarding its development." Now, how can we confirm the existence of Resident Evil 0 Remake, you may ask? Well, apparently, this potential remake of Resident Evil 0 has been worked on under the codename Chamber, which, as you may know, references the last name of one of the title's primary protagonists, Rebecca Chambers, and this codename has recently been discovered on an actor's resume page, indicating that voice and performance capture for the title could have begun as early as sometime last year in 2024. One of the lead actors listed in Project Chamber, an upcoming AAA video game shown here on the actor's resume page, also happened to appear in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy video game adaptation, along with an appearance in Far Cry 5. The actor in question here is John McLaren, and as his resume indicates, he is apparently starring in a lead role, which significantly narrows down what kind of game this could be. I mean, with a project name going under the title Project Chamber, and with Resident Evil 0 starring two protagonists, this could very likely mean that John McLaren here will be starring as none other than the title's other playable protagonist, Billy Cohen. To further hit this home, this project is being overseen by Beyond Capture Studios, which just so happens to be a motion capture company that has previously collaborated with Capcom on games like Resident Evil 4 Remake and Street Fighter 6. Yeah, while not concrete, foolproof evidence per se, it is exceedingly likely that this Project Chamber game is, in fact, a remake of Resident Evil 0. Very exciting stuff, and if you thought that this was it from MP First, well, stick around, as the article suggests that, quote, "The remake is expected to expand upon the source material, although the core story will remain the same." The article gives an example of the expansion of a story element featured in the early moments of the game set on the train, specifically regarding the train conductor. Very minor spoilers about Resident Evil 0 going forward, but as stated by MP First, in the original game, this character is never seen and is only referenced via his office on the train, but in the remake, he will take on a slightly larger role. The article continues with, "We can detail that one of the scenes involving this character has him asking Rebecca for help to stop the train's acceleration, only to end up betraying her by locking her in with a bunch of zombies so he can escape. Following this, we wouldn't see him again until reaching a later zone in the game, where Rebecca would find him interacting with another mysterious, unnamed character who appears to have knowledge of the general situation and clearly plays an important part in the plot. And that's really the gist of what MP First had to report on regarding RE0 Remake. And while the story information about the train conductor may or may not turn out to be true here, the discovery of Project Chamber, along with its mocap studio's ties to previous Resident Evil remakes, is a substantial lead that could very well truly be a remake of Resident Evil 0. And with prominent Resident Evil leaker Dusk stating on Twitter that this new Resident Evil 0 leak is true, you can make that decision for yourself if Dusk's corroboration of the article makes the existence of this game any more likely or not. Let me know in the comments what you think about these pretty substantial findings of Resident Evil 0 Remake, and if you'd be interested in a remake of this somewhat divisive mainline Resident Evil title. As for me, I'd love to see this turn out to be true, as RE0, to me, an already solid game, could really be elevated with a refinement to its gameplay, and as this title stars two protagonists that play quite differently to one another, I think a remake of this game could ultimately be really impressive, but let me know what you think about this in the comments. Moving on to a small update on Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake, this one comes from the highly divisive Dusk on Twitter. Again, I know many of you don't like this guy, and yes, I am very well aware that he has gotten some things wrong with his leaks and rumors, but at the end of the day, I did warn you at the very start of this video that a lot of this video was about covering leaks and speculation. From a new post on October 14th, Dusk claimed that there is a high likelihood that a Code Veronica remake gets revealed next year and releases in Q1 of 2027. Dusk continued further, suggesting that Resident Evil 0 Remake needed a lot of retooling, as he heard that the development switched over to Capcom Div 1 from M2 as the lead developer of the title, with a 2028 release date still likely. He concluded by saying that Resident Evil 4 Remake had a similar switch in development between M2 and Capcom Div 1, but that Resident Evil 4 Remake turned out to be great, so there really wouldn't be much of anything to worry about here. So, if everything goes to plan, according to Dusk Capcom will release Resident Evil Requiem in 2026, with Code Veronica Remake landing in 2027, and a remake of Resident Evil 0 releasing sometime in 2028. Now, regardless of whether any of these reports have any validity to them, we know that Capcom, at the end of 2023, confirmed that more remakes are indeed coming to Resident Evil, as these remakes are easily some of the best performing games in the series. I mean, Resident Evil 2 Remake just surpassed Resident Evil 5 as being the best-selling game in the franchise not too long ago, and with Resident Evil 4 Remake the fastest-selling game in the series, Capcom knows that these remakes bring in significant revenue for the company, so there is absolutely no way that Capcom is just going to give up on remaking their older games. In fact, Capcom reportedly stated that the Resident Evil remakes were superior to the original games, according to what GOG's senior business development manager said in an interview with The Game Business. Now, as you may already know, GOG last year released enhanced PC ports of RE1, RE2, and RE3, but had to get the okay from Capcom in order to do so. So this following quote explains the back and forth between GOG and Capcom to revisit the original games. Capcom were like, we have all of those remakes. It's already the superior experience to those games. They didn't really see the value of bringing back the vanilla versions, GOG's senior business development manager told The Game Business. As a result, GOG had to work hard to convince Capcom to approve the re-release of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, allowing both old and new players to access them more easily. Obviously, not a great look for Capcom if they actually said this, as the originals are still regarded by many as phenomenal titles, with a large part of the community specifically regarding Resident Evil 3 Remake to be inferior to the original version. But at the end of the day, the point still stands. Capcom is determined to continue making more remakes. Why? Because the spreadsheets don't lie. They print money. It's an awesome time to be a Resident Evil fan. With Resident Evil Requiem releasing in a matter of months, and with Capcom committed to releasing even more remakes, we've got a lot to be looking forward to. We are on the dawn of the next several Resident Evil remakes, my friends, so come join me over in this video as we go over what will likely be known as the next Resident Evil remake trilogy. Got nothing else for ya. I'll be seeing you all real soon in the next one.